Crazy.
All right, everyone,
Look
welcome
at
back
this.
to Cutting
Hey!
Stems, the finale.
Here we are.
Our after show. We're all here in studio. It's the first time we've been back in studio all season. As you can see, we're not on our normal setup because we're prepping for Paradise. We got quite a setup for Paradise coming up. You'll see it starting next week. All thanks to the one we love the most as I drop my phone off the couch, Owens. Owens Mixers, we love you so dearly.
Where are they? Oh.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Owens Mixers, you can make an amazing cocktail at home. All you need is that bad boy and the alcohol of your choice. It's that simple. Little ice in a glass. You are good to go, and it is delicious. We'll be drinking Owens Mixers all season long for Paradise. We're getting a little tropical. We're getting, we're really getting into theme.
We
We're
dropped our
headed to the
promo
We
before
did.
tonight's episode.
We
Yeah,
did.
we did.
Looks
Should
great.
we play it right now?
You can get that side. Don't think they're
Yeah.
prepared for that, but we can get
Would have been good if they were.
Yeah, I
all
agreed.
the margarita mixes you can get right to your door with Amazon.com/Owens Mixers. Amazon, good to go.
Can't wait for Paradise.
Cannot
so
wait,
excited.
especially with that little intro that we got. My juices were flowing.
Not to
Fantastic promo.
Not
skip
to
right
completely
past
skip
tonight's
past
finale.
the finale, but the fact that Kendall's going to Paradise.
Kendall
Gro-
coming back
blew
to
my mind.
bitch out Joe or like come back into Joe's arms. Like
I
I
know.
gasped
I
so
did
loud.
see some things like I knew I saw some posts about Becca showing up, things like that. Kendall, I had no idea.
When Joe
No
and
idea.
Kendall broke
Not a
up,
clue.
I didn't realize that it had happened. Like I don't think they put up any sort of post about.
did.
They did.
Did they
They
really?
did.
Yeah.
It was a thing.
Fuck,
Yeah.
I missed that. I mean, I knew they were broken up. Like seeing that.
You
Yes.
missed something that happened in the Bachelor universe.
I did. Seeing that
Disrespect.
promo wasn't the first time that I realized that they were broken up. I knew they were broken up, but I didn't realize they did like a "we're broken up" post.
Yeah, they did.
All
I
right,
just-
guys.
Sad.
Yeah,
is sad.
yeah. It's going to be very good. But let's get into the finale. How are we feeling? What's our gut reaction? I will say that the organization of this episode I really did not like.
Agreed.
I think it was a lot of highs and lows. I wish all the Greg stuff was at the beginning so we could actually feel like Katie and Blake are in love. Like it was just too up and down, too back and forth. What did you guys think?
Would that have made much of a difference?
Yes.
Yes. Here's the thing. We got over the Greg stuff, and then it was like, oh, Katie and Blake are in love.
Yeah.
We were fed this love story. I started believing it. I cried for them. I smiled for them. We cheered for them. We applauded. We said, oh my God, Blake and Katie, they're in love.
Yeah.
And then Greg came out to talk to Katie, and Katie was fired up like we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
So passionate and angry at Greg. And yes, of course, you could still be angry at an ex when you love somebody else, of course, but not like to that extent. That was wild. It made me Team Greg. I was all about Blake and Katie. I was like, I'm rooting for them. But at this point going forward, I cannot believe that Katie isn't still kind of in love with Greg and thinking what could have been with him.
Yeah, my honest thoughts are that Katie is still in love with Greg.
Yes.
So for
Yeah.
me, it is less about Katie's feelings towards Greg and more kind of what Greg was saying about her trying to like really fit that Bachelorette role. I
agree
think
with you
it's
on that.
more her seeing how everyone hated Greg and being like, I'm taking this one. Like, I'm going to show Greg who's the boss.
Yeah.
This is my show.
If they
How
had
dare
had-
he embarrass me on my show?
Right.
If they had had that conversation, I truly think right after everything had happened, like even before Katie went onto the internet, because clearly Katie went on the internet, saw everybody's reaction to Greg, how they felt about the way he was treating
By
her.
the way, this was not live.
Oh yeah, this was not live. This was taped.
I'm not,
ahead of time,
I'm not
which
quite
is
sure when they
ridiculous.
filmed this. 2 weeks ago? I don't
Something
know.
like that, yeah, because they were posting pictures a couple weeks ago. But
Yeah.
I think that if they had had
Which is
that
bullshit, by the
conversation,
way.
because Greg's, a lot of the arguments he made, and he honestly didn't even come in, he looked like a little annoyed, I think, which was warranted. He also came back and was like, okay, well, I'm sorry about this, and maybe I should have, presented these facts a little bit differently and whatever. And the things he said, like, you were playing the role of the Bachelorette, and you could have let me go if you weren't going to pick me in the end. Like, he talked her right back into a circle that she was trying to talk herself out of, and it didn't really make any sense to me. And it kind of made her look stupid. And I think if they had had that conversation without her going on the internet and reading all these thoughts and getting that anger, like having all that
all the
time for the
acting
anger,
stuff
all the acting
yeah.
stuff was a little weird to bring up. I think if she didn't have all of that, it would have gone a lot differently, and we wouldn't have needed this like 30-minute berating.
I also think that she thought, like, with what she was saying was going to go over really well.
For sure.
And, like, because she did. She read a lot of the internet clearly with, you know, the acting, a lot of gaslighting talk once again, which has really been the topic of conversation the last couple weeks surrounding these two.
Real buzzword,
Yeah, so it's just like she clearly saw that and was going to, you know, take Greg down with that. And it just felt misplaced for whatever reason because Greg wasn't fighting back necessarily. He was just like, yeah, I regret some of the things I said. I wish it hadn't gone that way. And she never really let off him during the whole thing.
I'm not trying to invalidate Katie's feelings because I'm sure she was very upset with Greg. I'm sure she was very hurt by Greg. But instead of allowing herself to feel what she felt about the situation, she went online and read what everyone thought about it, took all the buzzwords, and just did a whole speech of every internet thing that you can comment ever. And just threw them all into one. It was like if you took every Reddit post and put them all into one thread and read it, that is what Katie did. And it's just annoying to hear and listen to because you're like, that's not genuine. No. That's not how people talk in real life. That's how people talk on the internet for sure. But in real life,
timing-wise, we don't, like, I think they've filmed this before.
People have been saying this about Greg for
the
whole season.
But I feel like what she really was saying was very close to like what a lot of people on the internet were saying after last week about Greg.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I also think
and I don't want people to get confused. I think they recorded this before that episode aired of Greg leaving.
But I think though that weren't there rumors about Greg being a dickhead anyway? Like before from like Dumois. Like I feel like Katie was just reading like Dumois, like story.
Yeah.
And
no, there definitely was. There was a ton of stories
from
about
there.
Him.
Yeah. And so I think that kind of like
things like that.
Yeah. So I feel like those things and probably people. I don't know. You're right about the reaction of the crowd, but I feel like there must have been some way that she saw those reactions in time to record that, but not necessarily last week. You know what I mean? Like there must have been something.
It's confusing, and there's definitely a part of me that thinks like there's plenty of times that I've been like I'm thinking about like being in a relationship and thinking like if I had the opportunity to absolutely lay into a guy that scorned me, I'd do it.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
I'd do it. But I do think, and I think Katie really did get very much caught up in this process, the way she speaks about like that's just the way it works. Like this is my journey. It's not over till I decide it. And I had 3 people left. Like I think she was very much following the order that she felt she needed to go on things, and Greg threw a wrench in that. Yeah. And I think she's really resented him for making it seem like she wasn't the one in the driver's seat.
Right.
She wasn't making the decision.
He was saying,
this is what we all talked about. We're like, oh, Justin's in the top 2, like not by choice.
Right. Yeah. Greg's out here saying like, oh, you're playing the role of the Bachelorette, and she's like, well, I am the Bachelorette. Like it's like, yeah, you're right. But also, yeah, if you were really, really in love with him and like this head over heels, whatever the hell, blah, blah, that Greg was trying to explain that he was towards Katie, Katie felt the same. She would have been like, fuck the show. I'm in love with him. But she wasn't. She didn't.
Yeah. Right. He also brought up the point of like what you guys are saying where he's not second because he's not the Bachelorette or he's not the Bachelor. Like just because it is her show, that's true. She's the Bachelorette, but they should be on level playing field in terms of a relationship. Yeah. Yes. And I think somewhere Katie thinks the balance got thrown off. And now she's just tearing him apart.
At the end of the day, this relationship clearly was never going to work. Like, this is the thing. If Greg wanted to be there at the end, he would have stayed. And if Katie wanted to be with him, she would have left. Like, it's not like we saw Claire do it. I know that's not what they want to do, but Claire felt so passionately for Dale that she fucking threw the towel 2 weeks in.
Yep.
So, like, if Katie put her foot down and was like, this is it, I'm done, I'm leaving, Greg's the guy, then that's what would have happened. But that wasn't what happened.
But also the thing she said during the hometown to his family was like, he's the one. I'm giving him a rose. Like, he's advancing. She was clearly very into him. Like, I don't know.
I think she just wanted to go through all the appropriate.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
And just watching it, though, it just seemed like all of her emotions were heightened when she was talking about Greg. The tears were coming when it was about Greg. When it got time to talk about her relationship with Blake, oh, he's a prankster. Like, it seemed very forced and not the love story that we were fed 30 minutes or earlier.
Oh, wait,
like, I want to be happy for Katie and Blake, and I'm sure they're happy in some capacity, but she is not fully happy. You could just tell in that whole situation. I feel like just watching them, it's hard to believe that she isn't thinking in her head what could have been with Greg.
You just said that reminded me of what you said before about the order of things, how it like really fucked it
Yeah.
up. I think that the passion and the anger that she had with Greg, and then to immediately be like, and here's her fiance Blake, and she was like, we're just really happy, like we're just feeling
Yes.
great,
Yeah.
like that. You're absolutely right. The anger from that just carried over and made it look like, oh, you know, like she can't separate it that quick. Like she's so mad, she's so worked up. It's the first time she's seeing him. She's this big fucking speech.
Yeah.
Then she has to come in and be like, no, I'm totally happy. Don't you love my ring? It looks
Yeah.
amazing. Like,
And
it
when she
came
talked to
across crazy.
Tayshia and Caitlyn, and she was thanking them, and the tears were there,
Seemed
they started getting real watery when she thanked Caitlyn for being there when Greg left.
Yeah.
Like, that was when the most passion came out.
right, and when
It's open wound still. It's still an open wound.
I
Yeah.
also I'm just still very angry at production, honestly. I really, like, I don't think that they gave us the full story on any of this. I don't think they gave us the full story in the Greg fight. I think they chopped that up majorly. And I think this being not live gives us a totally different story. Who knows what order they even filmed that in? Like, where,
True.
like, how long was Greg on stage? How long was Blake on stage? We don't know. It wasn't live.
Mhm.
And on top of that, the way they spliced that up in the order they did to put Katie and Blake getting engaged and then immediately having her yell at Greg was, I think, to make her look bad. Like, I don't think,
she did
like,
look bad. You're right.
they could have, if they wanted to feed us the fairy tale love story that they always want to feed us, you put all the Greg stuff at the beginning and you put all the happiness, he loves Blake, they're engaged at the end, and then that would have been the end.
Completely.
But people would still know that that was filmed after
Right.
her engagement with Blake.
it definitely makes a difference, right? Like
Yeah,
I
of course,
understand what
I
you're
think
saying.
that bit of a
it's
But I
just-
still
and
think
I'm telling you, it would make a massive difference.
it would,
Yeah.
but like Rhea's saying, everyone knows that it was filmed before their, you know what I mean?
No, of course. I'm just thinking.
I get that the juxtaposition is much different, but they
100%.
still like she
Think
still
about
feels
how
that
we were
way.
all feeling watching that happen, like during the actual engagement. And we were all tearing up, crying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's why I said I
Legitimate
was happy
tears.
about it.
And then that switched in a second when it was Katie and Greg. We were like, ooh, we don't like what's happening now.
It should have opened
And then
up.
that sour taste stayed once Blake won.
No, but
Completely.
it opened up with how mad she was at Greg and yelling at Greg, and then all of a sudden she got engaged to Blake. We'd be like, does she even want to be engaged to Blake? Because she seemed
Right.
real
we
mad
had
at
that,
No,
we,
Greg.
had, we
Yeah.
had that anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so even if it was
Yeah.
switched, it would be that.
I think if they opened it up immediately with the Greg stuff, like they replayed basically the whole conversation she had with Greg. I think if they
Yeah.
went right into like we're starting off with Greg, I think that the whatever it's called, the like timeline of things should have been like rile us up, get us all mad at Greg, be like,
Yeah.
fuck Greg, and then lead us right into like the sweet love story and leave us
Yeah.
crying and in love at the end. That should have been like how it
Then
went.
give
But
us
instead
Katie
we were
being like, I
yeah.
didn't know until this moment.
Yes,
Because
we were
all
like
thought,
riled up and then we were sad again.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh my god, engaged, and then we were like, oh no, she's
I
yelling
really
at Greg.
thought Blake,
Oh,
the
it was too
Katie in
much.
that moment when for the fantasies and Blake gave his whole "I love you" speech, and it was like, ooh, is she gonna just not say anything
Yeah.
to him? And she didn't. Turned into a full-blown "I love you" fest, which is clearly very different than how she reacted with Greg. With Greg, it was like I made a rule. I can't tell anyone till the end. I love them. Maybe it's because it was only him
Greg
left.
Yeah.
It was only Blake left. But she was very open to share how much she loved Blake.
But
Yeah.
if still they did the whole I'm in love with you, Blake, after the yelling at Greg thing, even Katie sitting down with Blake at the final rose, I wasn't really buying what they were selling during that
I'm
sit
telling you,
down
it's
with
because
Tayshia
of
and
that.
Katie.
Brian was like the bad taste in your mouth. It's because of that yelling fest, and then just immediately the switch out. It's like how can you
I really
relate
think the
to
feeling
that
would
love?
be different if they went right from the proposal to Katie and Blake.
Yeah,
on
I
stage.
totally
Yeah, I
agree.
wonder how I'd feel. That's an interesting point.
I couldn't agree more.
But the passion in the yelling at Greg was real no matter what.
yes.
Oh,
So it's like
For
I think
sure.
that might have carried over still.
Well, we
like
needed,
you're
like, a
saying, I think I still
palate
would have been
cleanser.
like,
We
she was
needed
pretty
something
fucking
in the
mad at
middle.
him.
And I think even if, like, yes, you can be in love with somebody else and still be mad at your ex, but when you're, like, truly happy with somebody else, you really don't give a fuck
Yeah, you
what
don't
your
care
ex
so
is
much.
doing. Because you're so, I think, maybe not, but
Yeah.
that's
No,
what
I
I was
honestly
Yeah.
agree with you too. And I think that if she had maybe had like one or two jabs at Greg, being like, oh, like seems like you were lying a little bit, or seems like whatever, in addition to like a healthy conversation, I
Yes.
would buy it a lot more.
It
And
was
it
a lot.
seems
I
way
agree.
more like on Katie's brand to act like that, like I just described. what she did just there, bringing up the acting thing and all the gossip shit, I'm
You don't know what
surprised
love
by that.
is. You're
That was a
liar.
shower
Yeah.
fight. That was a
Didn't
shower
even, like,
fight.
look at him when she
What
walked out.
What Katie did up there was a shower fight.
Yes.
That's
Yep.
what I do
Yep.
when I'm in the shower and I get into a fake argument with somebody. I pull out all those lines, those one-liners that I think are
That's my
going to hit.
list. That's my angry list.
And then when you get out there, it does not hit like you thought it would. Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Oh, fine. Everything's
Exactly.
no,
fine.
I'm very happy.
That's a very good comparison, though. That's right.
exactly right.
But she did it in front of everyone.
In front of everyone.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yep.
Let's jump for a second and talk about Justin. Because
Who's Justin?
we can't go
Uh,
without. I know.
The
We
greatest,
can't go
the man who
without
went on the
bringing him up.
greatest Cinderella run in the history of the show. That Justin.
Justin really, we knew he didn't stand a chance, and that really confirmed it when the fantasy suites of Blake went the way it did. We knew Justin was going to be sent home right away, and she didn't skip a beat sending him home.
No.
But
I think Justin's cute and I think he's
handled
great.
it all very gracefully. Like, I wish we knew more about Justin, because I think we'd all really like him.
He seems like a great guy.
He
I
seems
enjoy
kinda
his
funny.
emotions.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
emotions seem funny.
And he did say in the after the final rose, like, I wish more of us was shown.
Right.
Yeah.
So it does seem like we missed a lot of their relationship, or they didn't show a lot of it. They probably didn't have any drama. Like, they were
Yeah, probably was just kind of boring.
solid. They
It
were
must
friends.
have been because
Yeah.
we just literally know nothing about him. Like all I remember about him is the fact that his parents like wouldn't show up and we're just like, we're all set.
And he paints.
like, yeah,
Oh, he
yeah,
paints,
and he
too.
paints.
He
Yeah,
paints.
that's
Can't
it.
forget he paints.
He
I
definitely
will
paints.
always have fond memories of Justin. And he'll also always be a comparison now. Like when someone is going deep on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, be like, is this another Justin? We don't know. We'll find
True,
out.
that's right. He's a good
He
comparison.
seems like a nice
You're
guy.
right.
Dare I say this was best case scenario for Justin?
Definitely, definitely.
Like,
Definitely.
He
he
just
got
got
all the
out
way to
great.
the end, but never stood a chance,
Doesn't
but
have
got
to
to be
deal
on
with
TV for this long.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't have to deal with any of this.
Yeah.
He is totally left out of this conversation.
Completely.
Absolutely.
Good for him.
He was very
Untouched.
emotional.
I was like, do you
Unscathed.
think it's crazy he was crying on stage?
Right, he was very emotional talking to Katie.
Yeah.
Clearly, they had more of a relationship than what we saw.
He must
So
have enough for
it could,
tears.
yeah, that's what
though?
I'm saying. It could personally be affecting him, but I'm saying from the outside world, there's no ill will towards him from any
Yes.
viewer, I feel like, and that's going to benefit him.
Mhm.
Definitely.
You had
You're right.
asked the question while we were watching, do you think he has any Bachelor potential?
I did ask you guys
What do
that.
you think?
I think no.
I think no, just because we don't know enough about him right now. He would maybe need a paradise stint.
Yeah. Do we know
Yeah.
if he's going?
Ooh.
Did not see him
He
in the
could-
preview,
he could
but
show
I don't-
up.
I
Sounds
did
like
see
there's gonna
some
be 1,000
posts apparently
episodes
that
of
he's like could be dating somebody right now.
Oh, interesting.
Do you guys think Greg has Bachelor potential?
No. He's a
I
little
don't
too,
know.
maybe in like 2 years.
He did get a round of applause.
Like, I feel like people
a
are
little
very
too-
split.
He's a
Polarizing.
little too Peter Weber boy to me, and Peter's season.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they would do that again.
What a great
No, it's a great. I
That was a good
love
season. For
Peter's.
viewers, for
No,
viewers.
I know,
Yes,
I know.
I
That's
loved
what,
Peter's
like,
season.
But I get very similar vibes from Greg
Yeah.
that I do Peter.
Yeah.
I'm kind of torn on who I think he is like. I don't think he's honestly like anybody. Like I think that he's a little.
He's special.
Yeah, he's special. He's different. But I think Trent's right. Maybe like in a couple years he can cool off and then come back, and he's almost like the dark horse, like borderline villain, because he is like a 50% villain, 50% people are on his side and hate Katie.
Yeah.
Like he's not totally in the dark.
And I kind of
think.
like that pick as a
Me
bachelor.
too.
Just because we're always getting people who are like so
Super
loved.
likable.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, what if we put someone up there? It's like, well, we're gonna watch because we don't like him, but we're also gonna watch because we do like him.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we're curious to see what kind of girls come out of the woodwork for him too. Like maybe
Yeah.
we'll get a batch of like really snarky bitches. Maybe there'll be like even more bullies in the house.
And maybe we'll find out what he's really like.
Yeah, or,
Like
or
what?
that.
Like
Let's
what is
just
the
do
answer
a
to Greg?
season from Spring Lake, and it'll
Yeah,
be
yeah.
all Jersey chicks.
Exactly.
We're going to the
All
Jersey
fighting
Shore?
for Greg.
It's gonna be at the Parker House.
Yeah.
We're all gonna host it.
Listen, if we're doing The Bachelor at the Jersey Shore,
Yeah.
You're there.
Rhea might be signing up.
Yeah, we're gonna sign
It
up.
was-
I
You're
said I
there.
would never do it.
Yeah.
It was fun listening to the crowd react, like trying to decide whose side they were on.
Yeah.
Because at first it was all Katie. It was like,
Oh,
come
I
on
mean,
now.
as
Woo!
soon as
And
Katie
the-
sat down and she didn't give him a hug or touch him or anything, and the crowd went,
Yeah, like, ooh.
The
But
faces, though, when
Yeah.
Katie would say
Priceless.
something to Greg that they didn't like,
like,
the woman would
ooh.
be like,
But then
Yeah.
Greg made like a couple good points. People were like, yeah.
Yeah. The golf clap suddenly.
Right.
It definitely felt like it went back and forth only because Greg did not seem to engage
No.
with anything that Katie was throwing at him, which probably was smart on his part.
Very smart, I think, too.
And at this point, we gotta talk about Katie's family.
Oh,
Jeez.
It really seemed like smooth sailing at this point. There was nobody left for Katie besides Blake. It was like, oh, you just gotta beat my mom and my aunt. Harmless. Mom, aunt, great, easy. Blake can charm their socks off. Not the case. It took 5 minutes for Aunt Lindsay to be like, you mean nothing.
Aunt Lindsay was the definition.
You are nothing.
Literally, this is Aunt
meaningless.
Lindsay. Blake said anything, and she goes, I mean, that's cute.
She was
cute.
She was.
That's not how the real world works, but cute.
Aunt Lindsay is a miserable old bat.
Yeah, honestly, that's how she came across. Man.
You don't feel okay that I just said that?
No, I feel fine with that. What I was going to say is that she presented to Blake.
Aunt Lindsay doesn't believe in love.
She said, what happens when you guys get in a fight? How are you going to fix that? And she gave him no details about, like, what's the fight about? Where did it start? She was just like, here's a problem. I'm not going to give you any of the numbers or the equation. Figure it out. And he was like, I don't know, lady.
In Aunt Lindsay and Katie's mom's defense, I do think if I brought home a boy that I wanted to marry and he said to my mom, I am currently unemployed and I'm planning to go to Africa a bunch in the coming years, which is great. Blake, clearly, he is a man on a mission. That's his whole passion in life. Yeah. But you're like, how does that align with your life? Like, it was the Katie's life.
Yep.
Like, how does...
They spelled aunt wrong before. Just wanted to point that out.
Like, how would Katie...
But
like, how does that fit into Katie's life? Which is what I think they were freaking out about.
Which, that makes sense. I feel like my parents are probably girl spuddy, too, a little bit. But I think they wouldn't sound so, like, bitter about it. Like, I feel like Aunt Lindsay just sounded, like, a lot like she was projecting and a lot of, like... angry shit.
You're not here because we need you.
Aunt Lindsay sounded like she needs to get laid.
What happened to she said something that was like you just because you were watching the train wreck doesn't mean you were in the train wreck about Blake's parents' divorce, like trying to diminish like his experience in it, being like you don't actually know what it's like because you weren't in it, you were just on the outside. Pretty sure a child of divorce is very much in the middle of a divorce.
Yeah,
like, that was kind of fucking strange.
It did feel like it was supposed to come off as we're a family of strong women and we lift our women up and that kind of storyline. And however, it came off very anti-man.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did.
So that was it was just like we don't fucking need you.
Yeah, it's like, a fine line. It's a fine line between like
fair.
Anti-man and feminism.
You're right, but if your daughter or niece is like saying she's in love with this guy, right? Katie's mom did seem like she came around. What was very interesting, and we'll see how this plays out. Katie said she did not tell her family they were engaged. That her family was finding out on television that she was engaged.
Let me tell you, Aunt Lindsay, I'll tell you this, Katie is not having a good night. No. Because Aunt Lindsay is somewhere on the phone screaming at her mother, Katie, Blake, everybody that Aunt Lindsay can get in touch with, she's yelling at right now that Katie did not let her know that she was engaged.
You know what's gonna happen?
So Katie is stressed out about her family. She's stressed out about the internet. She's stressed tonight.
You know what's going to happen? Aunt Lindsay now is going to make their lives as difficult as possible. So they have to go through all these emotions and deal with the family. Like, oh, can you deal with this? And she's going to come throw a bunch of shit at them. Aunt Lindsay's going to sabotage with this relationship.
Emily Moynes and Aunt Lindsay are going to get into a brawl.
Huge brawl.
Rough
I can't wait.
Rough and rowdy.
Emily Moynes and Aunt Lindsay could teach Aunt Lindsay a thing or two about female empowerment.
Yes,
right,
honestly.
True.
Right,
yeah,
Fran.
Katie not telling her family, I don't know how to feel about that. It makes me think like, there's like
you
this
don't tell your mom
right.
It's
engaged?
kind of nuts. Yeah, that's crazy.
I can't fathom that.
I almost don't believe it. Maybe she didn't mean
That's
her mom. Maybe
out.
she meant like Aunt Lindsay and family. You know what I mean?
She
like
made
maybe
it seem like everybody.
She made it
Really?
seem like but for her to say my family is finding out about this.
She didn't say,
I gotta
well,
be
my mom
honest.
knows,
I'm calling my mom, my dad, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, my friends.
She was like, they can't keep a secret.
Even if I signed an NDA and
your family
my
can't
family
keep a secret.
cannot keep a secret,
No.
I'm still telling them all that I'm engaged.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts.
That was pretty wild, I will say. But
no,
that's
I'm with
weird.
You. I'm with you.
That's your love of your life. You're gonna get married to that person. You're gonna get engaged to them.
Also, now
you're not gonna tell your family.
Is it now like suddenly it's gonna get super real? So they've been like living this like secret little romantic honeymoon life that Blake's always wanted. Now everyone's gonna know about their engagement. How's it gonna go now?
Have they?
I mean, yeah. Also, have they?
Has
Good call.
Katie just been lying to her family about like who she's talking to?
Or how they
Right.
hanging out?
Oh, true.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
Did they literally find out tonight?
You don't know. It's
either that or
crazy.
2 weeks ago when they recorded after the final rose or whenever
She
the hell
made
they
it seem
recorded
like
it.
it was gonna be when she was like, they're finding out with everybody.
Yes, yeah, she did say that.
Is she like at home watching with her family and Blake poses on TV?
She's like,
and he pulls the ring out of her back pocket,
Yeah,
like
he comes out of the closet.
Hi,
and
guys.
He slowly takes out a
He's
fucking
naked,
knife.
clearly.
yeah.
I would be terrified. They're having a family watch party, and Aunt Lindsay's in the room, cursing the marriage right in front of their face.
Yeah, are they all together right now? Oh, I'm stressed
I
out.
want-
I feel
I'm stressed
uncomfortable.
out. I'm stressed out. I'm sweating.
I want nothing more than for Blake Moynes to be happy.
Same.
This whole thing makes me really fucking nervous.
at the end of the day, I still really felt like Katie and Blake made a lot of sense in the real world. They
Agreed.
do feel very similar.
Yeah.
I do think they work together. Their love story was very overshadowed by all this Greg stuff, and they pushed all the Greg stuff so heavily that the love story like came second. And then and then it ended with one of the cheesiest.
Oh my god.
I mean,
No.
did those guys that showed up to that taping? Did they say?
I forgot that this happened.
No, it's.
I forgot.
Come on,
Sure.
now.
No,
We
no.
have a boombox for
That was
you.
weird,
no.
man.
And when it's time, we need you to stand up and lift that boombox.
Did you see
in
them
the
all
air.
too, like struggling? They're like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Oh, this is us.
What was I
like,
saying?
over
Like,
their
were
head.
those all
It's
actors? I would
ridiculous.
like to see the casting call for
I
all the
forgot
gentlemen
that
that
this
they needed to
happened.
raise
I will
the
say I did
boombox.
not. Casting call did not reach me because I would
You
have done
would've
it
been there.
probably. I would have done it.
It was a couple weeks ago. You could have made it.
I could've.
Damn. If you were in the audience and you stood up mid-audience,
Rhea's doing a lot.
Rhea's
This
taking
is
a
everyone
lot.
in
The
the crowd.
people in the background. The people in the background.
No, they were so bad.
swaying,
It was so
the
bad.
boombox
The
in the
rose
air.
It
petals
made
falling
me so. I won't even.
and Memorize You was playing, which
There
I
was
do
just
love. I
no
love that song.
enthusiasm in the crowd. They were
I
like
actually
this.
didn't know what song it was. It's a
It
good
was the song that
They
they
were
said
like,
they like danced together
yeah.
at their
Tommy
first
Smoke
date.
texted me. He's like, "What song was that?"
Remember?
good
No,
song.
They were swaying back and forth, looking at both of them like,
I
poor
Shazammed it right
Blake.
away.
She's thinking about Greg right now.
No, that's the song they listened to. That guy, whoever it is, I forget his name, performed it. That was their first date that they like danced
Yes.
to.
Yeah.
And so that's why it was
Oh.
playing on the boombox. Because then later, Blake showed up to her doorstep, also with it playing. It was the same song he played then
Gotcha.
when he came to her window.
That shit's
You
disgusting.
guys know what
That's their
also
song.
makes me feel like, and maybe
I
Rhea,
love
you want to pull
love.
up some questions?
Love,
while
love.
I just want to
bring
let
this up?
everyone know I love love,
Okay.
and I was rooting for these two. I was like buying it.
You
I was
really,
like,
I mean, you did cry.
I
during
cried.
The
I was
Yeah.
so happy for them. I was like, I love love. Love is in the air. Can't get enough of it
Yeah.
tonight. And then it just that
Oh,
it
it's
killed
just
me.
so much
It killed me.
cheese.
I'm gonna
Bring
get
up
some
some
questions.
questions.
It's
Memorize
You by Lane
Questions
Hardy,
in the
by the
YouTube
way.
chat, everyone, for the last time for the Bachelorette. I also think it is very sketchy that last week, Katie tweeted about Blake's sister. Like, ooh, just wait until next week, Blake's sister. Which makes me think, once again, that they filmed tons of more things for this after the final
Oh,
rose.
you're right.
That they
I
just
forgot
straight
about
up
that.
cut.
She said, if you guys think that this is like
Yeah.
too honest, like wait till you see
Wait
Blake's
till you
sister
see
at
Blake's
the
sister.
finale.
Didn't see any of that. 'Cause
We didn't
guess what?
see
They
her
clearly
family
cut
at
it all
all.
out.
Did they show Emily Moynes? Did they show any
No.
of anybody's family?
No.
What?
I'm telling you,
I
there
didn't
was some
realize that till just now.
shady shit going on with the editing. That's all I gotta say.
You
I really
honestly,
think
Fran,
that there was.
the minute the show turned on, you were like, I don't trust the show. It's edited.
I-
You said that.
You've been saying that for weeks
You
now.
have.
I don't like the way they've been editing the end of this season. I really don't. We've heard rumblings that the production really didn't like Katie, and I think it shows.
Wow.
We got to get a
Wow.
moderator in the YouTube chat, by the way. No,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
not good. There's trolls in here saying really not great shit. And I'm
Damn.
seeing it, and everyone's like, Rhea, can you put an end to this and get people
About
to moderate
us?
the chat? No, no, no.
Oh,
let's
about
just
the
get,
show.
let's just
Oh,
clean
yikes.
it up in here. Somebody get in the chat somehow. Anyways,
Oh, damn, okay.
let's.
I'll get Frankie Briley there. He loves
Is that something
cleaning
that
up
we can
chats.
do? I don't know how
I
that
don't
works.
know.
Do you think you can? Yeah.
Devin, we might need Devin.
Yeah,
to do
Devin,
that.
if you can get on this somehow.
Damn, I didn't. So annoying
That
that there's
was ruthless. The
terrible
chat tonight?
trolls in our
and
chat.
I don't like that.
What vein of
Okay,
terrible?
okay. I got a question.
All right.
Okay.
Caitlyn and Tayshia's roles. How do you want them to change for Michelle's season?
That's actually a
Oh.
very good question.
That is a good question. Oh, I wanted to, before we even say that, point out, really fucking weird that Tayshia was helping Blake pick out the ring. Really weird. his ex-girlfriend. They dated for like a minute only,
Yeah.
but still weird.
And
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They
The long
hugged for
hug.
very long.
The long fucking hug, too long. When the
The best love
congratulations
story of the
you're
night was
engaged, too
Zaxi
long.
tweeting about how great of a job Tayshia did. Let's
That
be
was
real.
wonderful.
That was
That
That
was
made
wonderful.
you cry.
That was the
Fran
real
cry.
love
That was
story
that was
tonight.
wonderful. It was so sweet. He's so supportive.
God, I
we love
root for
Zaxi
them
here.
so hard. I just
It was
can't
sweet.
take it. Caitlyn and Tayshia, I think season-wise they did a great job. I would like to see them use maybe a little more during the actual season, and then for the Men Tell All and like the live show like that, they're not ruthless enough.
Yeah.
Is the nicest way I'm
Right,
gonna
I
say
think
that.
I always think they're
Like,
trying,
they're
to,
too
get, trying to
nice.
get to the next thing,
Because
too.
they're
Yeah.
friends with Katie, and so like I need
Right.
someone to ask tough questions,
It's a little
and
bit
I think
harder.
sometimes they skate around that.
I agree. It's a little bit harder, I think, because with Chris Harrison, and I'm not allowed to say his name. Chris Harrison, I know,
Voldemort.
he was
Sorry,
good
Kelly.
at being like, I know,
You're
shit.
kicked off the
All
show
right,
now.
catch you later. He was so good at being like the eye in the sky, the like guy who
Yeah.
like the
But he still
all-knowing,
pressed
all-seeing.
people.
He
And
did,
he still
yeah.
pressed, but he would
Yeah.
press them. But he would make them. He was really good at making people feel like he was their friend, but not so close that he couldn't ask the hard questions.
Yeah.
I feel like
Need a little more of that.
Caitlyn and Tayshia will have a harder time with that like divide, with that boundary.
Right,
because
it feels
they're
like
both so
there
personable.
as friends to
Yeah,
the lead.
like Chris Harrison is just. I mean, he was doing it for 20 years. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like it was
yeah.
so different. I think that they'll get more comfortable about it.
Yep,
And they'll be better with it.
I agree with everything you said. I
Yeah.
think that's right.
Yeah.
Because it does feel like, it feels less like interviews and more like, all right, let's get to the next thing.
Yeah.
Let's get to the
Yeah.
next thing. But yeah, but otherwise, like you said, during the season, I thought they were great.
I think they would have been able to ask Katie and Greg. I think they could have been involved in that a little bit more to sort of
Sure.
have a more structured conversation.
Agreed.
I'm
Uh-oh.
sorry, but this chat is wild with trolls. I don't know how they infiltrated. It's actually hard to get questions. Okay. Oh, I think that we might have just solved it. I'm not sure though. I'm not gonna speak soon.
I'm so curious.
I know, me too.
Not good.
Oh.
Do you guys think? I think we talked about this. They want to talk about the ritual. We didn't talk about the ritual that happened.
Oh
I
my
forgot
God,
about
With
that.
the-
How did
with
we
I
the big
blacked
thing
that out of
blacked out
my
my mind. It
mind.
was so
I
horrifying.
kid you not. I was so terrified. I completely blacked that out of my
Holy
mind.
shit, that was so weird.
That is not the omen I want to be
Wait.
doing going into a proposal.
Somebody replied to me and told me what the name of it was.
Oh,
I'll bring it
starts
up.
with a Z.
It's a Z. It's like
Yeah.
I don't want to fuck up. the
But-
name.
Right.
I don't
It's,
mind the idea of like the concept of it, of writing things down, the fears and
Sure.
burning them and healing and all that. It was just
It's the
was-
reenacting the burning of Zozobra event held annually in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So I guess this is like an annual event that people go to,
okay.
and they do this thing where they have like their fears. And it's like a big
Obviously,
group
there is
thing.
history to it,
This
or else
is
they
weird.
wouldn't be doing it. But without explaining
Yeah.
the history on the episode, it's very confusing to us. If even the woman, I felt like the healer could have maybe described
Mhm.
what that was
And
a
it
little
was
bit
Yeah,
more.
I
just
agree.
too big.
It was humongous.
It was huge. It was
humongous,
20 feet tall.
and it was hard. It was the scariest
The
thing I've ever
face
seen.
exploded, and it was like, what?
It looked like the guy from Saw mixed
Yep.
with like
clown.
Maybe
I
they
guess
could
it
have
was
just
mine.
like put them
You know
in
that
some
meme of
balloons.
I didn't want to
and-
look it
the
in
big
the eye.
And let the
head
balloons-
of Voldemort running
Yes.
around scaring like the
Oh.
Dementors. Like, that's
Yeah.
what that looked.
Yeah. Not the
You know what I'm
visuals we
talking
want.
about?
Not the
The big
visuals I want
Voldemort?
during my Bachelorette episode.
No.
Yeah.
It was
And then
pretty-
they were huddled up next to it, like watching it burn, and
Yeah.
its face like wither in the weird
I
wind
saw
from
a
the
Katie was
little
fire.
afraid.
saw,
Katie
like,
was
saw
afraid.
She did say it's so
comparisons.
scary at one
Yeah,
point.
it's like,
The red eyes.
She did say that. She said,
She's like, oh, it's so
"Oh, it's
scary.
so scary."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's fucking horrifying.
yeah, dude, that's the scariest
It's a
thing I've
fire
ever
hazard.
seen.
Oh my
I feel
god.
like this is the overall theme of what we've been talking about, but do we think Blake was Katie's?
I think that he could have been. She did say when asked, "How did you know that you were in love with Blake?" Said that she only realized it in that moment, which to me kind of sounds like,
No.
you love me, so I love you. You know?
The way she
That is what that sounds like.
described
Yeah.
it and like coming to that decision in that moment makes you think no. And I'm starting, I mean, I think I'm talking myself into this because I want this to work for Blake because we love Blake so much
For sure.
that I think I'm hoping that those feelings for Blake were always there and the intensity with Greg was on like an infatuation level and she got so upset because she felt like maybe she thought she looked bad that he was leaving, and more of that kind of, like, not like I can't believe you're leaving because I love you. I can't believe you're leaving and like fucking this all up for me.
It was more of like an ego thing for
Yeah.
Kate than it was. And
I'm
honestly,
hoping
and
that
didn't
that's
Greg
the
like
case.
kind of say that?
Because
Like,
I think
feel
that's
like,
best case scenario for Blake.
yeah, I think so.
The last thing I'm going to take from the chat is the fact that Katie just posted for Blake's birthday.
Oh,
It's a
Happy
picture.
birthday, Blake.
Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
Blake.
Blake.
They're kissing. Oh, I feel bad saying all that shit about Katie being in love with Greg now. Anyways, happy birthday, Blake. She wrote, happy fucking birthday, honey bear. What a wild couple of months it has been. I couldn't have done this without you. I'm so ready to leave these bubbles and start living our life. I couldn't ask for a better partner. You are kind, patient, understanding, and your advocacy for the planet and animals is remarkable. I'm so lucky to call you my fiance, my best friend, my confidant. We are just two weirdos laughing our way through life together. Cheers to the upcoming adventures. Next stop, Canada.
Look, I'm
Canada,
rooting for
okay.
them. I hope it works.
I hope they're happy.
I really hope it works. And I said it during our recaps many times, and the listeners will probably know it. But you know, Trent and Rhea were like, "We don't know who you're talking about." I'm just hoping, best case scenario, this ends up like Desiree's season of The Bachelorette. She was devastated when Brooks left. This whole thing, Brooks seemed like he was the one all season long. It ended terribly. Chris proposed. They're married, children, seemingly living happily ever after.
Yeah.
So you just kind of, I hope that is the path that this goes for them.
I almost think that they're gonna do anything to make this work. Like, I feel like it's either they're gonna break up kind of soon, or they're gonna be like, we'll show you, and literally just date forever. Like, get married, do the whole thing forever.
That'll only last for so long, though.
You think? They both seem pretty determined to, like,
Yeah,
they're
but
stubborn
you're
people.
determined up until the point where you're like, I can't fake this anymore.
Guess so, yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, I'm rooting for them. It's not like I'm rooting against Blake and Katie. I really want them to be happy. It's just what we were shown, which it is a TV show. Obviously, we know shit's edited, but I feel like it gets tiring being like, it was edited like this, it was edited like that. This is what was shown to me. That's what I'm taking from it.
Yeah, you can only edit so much.
Why did I lose my voice throughout this?
I don't know. What happened? Were you
I have
screaming?
no idea.
She was screaming about the sauces. That's
True,
what
you were screaming about the
Mark
sauce.
me down as nervous.
nervous.
Yep.
Okay. All right, Trent.
That's how I feel.
Trent
Fair.
is.
Can I be marked down with you?
Of course.
Thank you.
Nervous. Her passion while yelling at Greg was a lot.
Yeah.
And like, I just don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. Clearly, they're still together. I mean, this was filmed a couple weeks ago, but that birthday thing, she just put that up.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
I wish nothing but the best for them. But I'm nervous.
Mm-hmm. See if they can weather the storm.
Shall we?
Time to cut some stems and give out some roses for our final episode for this season of The Bachelorette. Who would like to go first? Cut stem. Got a rose. Honestly, Rhea, I'm going to choose you to go first.
Oh, okay.
I just feel like you've had yours. in your
I
head.
don't have my rose in my
Okay.
head, but I'll think of it. I'm going to cut McDonald's. Or maybe, okay, let me be, maybe I don't want to cut McDonald's as a whole. Maybe just
Their refusal to include sauces.
Yeah,
Yeah,
McDonald's refusal to give me honey mustard.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Yep.
is
Very specific.
quite sickening.
Yeah.
The honey mustard route of this season.
Yeah,
The
it is.
fact that I ordered McDonald's not once but twice tonight and didn't get my sauces
Both times.
either
Neither
time
Mhm.
had me about ready to explode. And maybe
McDonald's
that's why.
lack of sauce.
McDonald's
Yeah,
lack
yeah.
of sauce.
Lack
Maybe
of
that's
sauce.
why I felt so passionately about this episode was because I had zero sauce tonight. Zero.
You were
Yeah.
fired up early on.
It's
'cause of
very
this.
The
fair.
fact that my tongue hasn't touched honey mustard tonight is a problem.
No, it is a problem.
I'm horny for honey mustard, and it's a problem.
Put it on a shirt.
Horny for honey mustard.
Yeah. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Okay. And I'm gonna give my rose to.
We can circle back.
We can circle back, but this is a thing that I deal with on the daily. Do I want to be controversial or do I want to be clean?
A controversial
Go
rose.
with your heart. Go with your
No,
gut.
circle back to me. Circle back to me. I gotta go.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to cut the stem of, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to this tradition or whatever it may be, the burning of the. Again, I don't know the.
Good, get
Is
out
that
in front
the
of it before
Zozobra?
you get canceled.
Yeah,
I'm
Zozo
You
just
can't
saying,
get canceled if you pre-apologize.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what
That's
they
exactly
didn't
what-
explain
that's
it.
exactly
All
what it is.
all I know is that it was horrifying.
Yeah, it was.
The burning thing. That just put that in there.
Zozobra.
Yeah.
Yeah. Burning
and then,
ritual.
Burning ritual. There we go.
Yep.
And then I'm going to give my rose to Justin. Great season.
Somebody had
Kyle.
to.
Somebody had to.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that, so I'm glad you took this down because it forces me to step out of my comfort zone.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Justin.
Do
Hell
you
of a
want to throw it
season,
out
pal.
there, or
No.
you
I gotta
want to
think
go
on it.
last?
Hell of a
I'll go
run.
last.
I hope it's not the last time we see Justin.
I
I
have
don't
a
think.
feeling-
I don't
I have
think
a
it
feeling
will
it won't be. Yeah.
Yeah.
He cried on that stage. I have a
Yeah.
feeling they'll at least bring him back for Paradise for a little while.
Good call.
I'm going to give my rose tonight to, as usual, the post-fantasy suite scene, the bra on the ground. That's my rose goes to the bra on the
Beautiful.
ground. That's unbelievable. Love it. Love when they do that. My stem, I think I'm going to cut Justin's stem crying on the stage. I think that was a lot of phony baloney. I know you just gave it to him, and I said, yeah, he cried on that stage. He deserves it.
Right.
Sure, but he had to
think
be an
he's a
actor
liar.
in that moment. He had to
Yeah.
be.
That's
Those
fair.
were the biggest crocodile tears I've ever seen in my life. That man does not care. Like he can. I would love for him to come and explain that he did care and like tell me all the things that they did together that made him care so much that he cried on that stage when we barely even knew his name when he was in the bottom. Like
I don't know how you guys haven't gone here, but I will be cutting the stem of Aunt Lucy.
Oh, she was dead to us.
Cut McDonald's, that would have been it.
She was just so dead to us. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a show about love, Aunt Lindsay. Give us something. You know, we got to think that there is somewhat of equal parts in a relationship, not just Katie stomping all over the man.
You are worth. You are worth.
You are
Honestly,
literally nothing.
Katie and Greg's relationship is Aunt Lindsay's ideal relationship.
Yeah,
Right.
honestly.
Right.
Honestly.
The thoughts of Greg
She loves a
being-
good love
The
bombing.
thought of
Aunt
Greg
Lindsay.
meeting Aunt Lindsay just,
Oh,
whoa,
Jesus.
that would not have gone
She's
over
also
well.
kind
No,
of. She's now just a Bachelor legend.
Yeah, no, she's
Oh,
great.
You know,
now.
it's
Aunt
like.
Lindsay will
We'll
have
never forget
history.
Aunt Lindsay.
Really
Aunt Lindsay,
good.
Barb, we'll never forget them.
Yep.
The I think that Greg would have been great with Aunt Lindsay because he would have been like over the top passionate, just like her. He'd be like, Lindsay, don't fear. I'm in love with your niece. Like he would put it on a show like he's been doing this whole time.
I think he would have towered.
You think?
Yeah.
He did
Oh,
go when
man.
Katie was yelling at him. He went in like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say like
Yeah,
2
you're
words.
He did
cowering.
do that. Yeah.
When you have this woman literally telling you to your face that you are nothing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, but
tough.
if he said anything back to her, he would have been painted as the bad guy.
Yeah.
He said
Yeah.
one single thing back to her.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Bad
saying.
guy.
I don't
For
think
Katie,
Greg
yeah.
would have. If Greg was in that position, I don't think he would have done that either. And I will be giving my rose to Blake.
Oh, good one.
No!
I'm sorry. Well, that's what you get for waiting.
I'm gonna have to think of another one now.
Specifically, I'm
that
getting
your
I'm
controversial
getting
one?
specific.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Specifically, the fact that despite everything that was going on in that burning ritual, he made sure that he had both hands in Katie's back pockets.
Yep.
Yes, he did.
And I respect that.
Full.
Full blown,
Full in.
both hands in the back pockets.
Couple hard-boiled legs in his hands.
Oh yeah, just got both.
Give your controversial one.
I'm gonna give this rose for the pure fact of being
Oh, you might need to sit up. This is
controversial.
a big view right up your nose.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that. For the pure sole reason of being controversial and for no other reason, I am going to give my rose to Greg.
I knew it. I knew that was coming.
That's it. There's no other reason. It's not because I'm all like, yes, Greg, and yeah, no, Katie. I'm on. Listen, I think that they're both wrong. Tonight I was more
Yeah.
on Greg's side.
I would like to stop talking about
I just can't think of a rose to give tonight. So
Greg had some good points though.
for the little points that Greg had,
Bro.
Hit a couple good points.
Well, guys, that
everyone's gonna hate me for that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, they won't know.
I think it'll be all right. I think you'll have 50%
I
of the
think
people on
what
your
I
side.
saw on the interwebs, when things were going down,
it's-
it shifted.
Yeah.
Not
it's
that that
very
matters,
split.
but that's like, yeah,
it's
it is
very
split. It
It's
is.
very
Yeah.
split.
It
So,
Someone's gotta spice it up.
yep.
Right.
Mhm.
Here it is. That wraps up this season of The Bachelorette. We are hoping the best for Katie and Blake, and we will be back. Don't worry, guys. Next week, there is no break. We're
Yes.
going head first
Honestly,
right
though,
into Bachelor in Paradise.
Like,
guys.
I am excited for Paradise.
Me too.
I'm very
I'm glad
excited
we did
as
this
well.
tonight. Watched
too.
it together tonight because
Right.
it made me remember the good times.
Yeah,
Right.
me too.
Oh, and reminder, it's on 2 nights. So I know
Right.
you're watching this
And that is
Monday night.
confirmed, right?
Cutting Stems, yes.
Okay.
Cutting Stems will be on Tuesday. to talk about both episodes, Monday and Tuesday, after Tuesday night's episode. We'll begin next week, August 16th. Like we said, new set, tropical. We're fully in paradise.
Shout out to Owens Mixers. They're making that happen.
Absolutely. So get all your Owens Mixers, Amazon.com/Owens Mixers. And we will see you all next week.